everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Successful Woman's Mindset. My name is Galit Ventura Rosen. I am a professional speaker. I am a broker of a commercial real estate company and a business coach. But more than anything, I am co-founder of Everyday Woman TV, where some of you will be watching this and many of you will be listening on my podcast, The Successful Woman's Mindset. One of my favorite things to do is interview women and spotlight women that are making a difference in the world, that are doing what they love, and that are passionate about helping other women. Many of our women also work with men, so don't discount that. But our focus on this show really is empowering women. So women that are empowering women, shows by women for women. That's really what Everyday Woman TV is about. So today I have the privilege and honor to introduce to you Denise Hansard. Welcome, Denise.
Hello, Galit, and thank you so much. It's such an honor to be on today. Thanks.
I love the circle that online businesses take, where Denise had me on her show a few years ago now. Yeah. But even though we don't speak every day, we don't connect every day, we make sure to support each other online. And we also make sure to reach out to each other when there's an opportunity. And I love being able to kind of give that back to someone like you, Denise. So thank you for having me on your show.
You're welcome.
I still have it on my website. I still circulate it in my social media. It's just always fun to kind of see where we've been.
I know. And we've been on a journey ourselves.
Yes,
a lot of different ways. Yeah.
Yes, we have. And I can't wait to jump into that. What I'm going to do is share just a little bit about you, and then we'll make sure that you share a lot more today, as well as the topic that we'll be talking about. So Denise Hansard is a life architect, intuitive, and motivational speaker. She's author of Suffering in Comfort. As a transformational life coach, Denise uses her strategic and intuitive mind to work with successful women looking for that next step in their life, their second half, to find fulfillment, satisfaction, and purpose. She has a master's in counseling, a life coaching certification, and 20 years of experience in the corporate world. She's an expert in transformation and change, which really is perfect for the topic we'll be talking about today, which is going to be transitions, what's next, and how to take the leap. We're going to have a lot of fun with this.
Yay!
Let's first jump into why this topic. Why are you so passionate about transitions and really taking this leap? And what's next?
Yeah. So why am I passionate about it? Because I'm in a transition myself. It's like next year will be 10 years in my business, which I absolutely love and continue to do. And at the same time, I have this yearning to continue to grow and to do more and more things. So being in transition, allowing myself to kind of put anything that I do into my own life, I love to be able to give that to other people. So for me, coming up on that age that a lot of people go, oh my God, when are you going to retire, Denise? And I'm like, what do you mean retire? I'm loving life. And I don't ever see retiring from what I'm doing. I'm just going to do it in a little different way. And that's what I love to help people do. Yeah.
I love that. I actually get asked that as well, not because I'm close to that age, but well, what's your retirement plan? When are you planning to stop working? And I said, why? Exactly. Why would I stop doing what I love? Why wouldn't it, as Denise said, just look different? Mm-hmm. And for me, that involves a lot of travel. I've raised 3 kids. My youngest is 18 and a half. We're right on the threshold of starting college in the fall. And I'm excited about how different my life is going to be looking and continuing to do what I love, just like Denise, but being able to change it. So I love that you've been in your business for 10 years. I also love that you have this corporate world experience, because what you bring to your clients is, look, I've been there, done that.
Yep.
I know how to make the leap, which is not simple.
Nope.
And I've been doing this for 10 years. So, I have enough experience now that I can show you how to make a transition in your life as well. And I'm excited about talking about this topic. Yeah. Before we jump into the topic, I'd love to learn a little bit about your book, suffering and comfort.
My published book, and get it out on Amazon, it was my first foray into the coaching world. It was kind of one of those to where I needed to tell a story of my life and how I worked through the challenges that I'd had in my life, of recognizing that I hated my life, but I stayed there because it was comfortable, And a lot of people do that, but we suffer through it. And so it's very simple, gives you step by step by step, with me telling stories, because I'm a Southern girl. I love to tell stories, and show you ways of which you can begin to take that foray into a new journey of life. And really,
that sounds like a stepping stone into what we're talking about today.
It is, yes.
Really
yes.
takes them through the journey of how you yourself made this transition, and the good, the bad, the ugly, because it's just what it is.
Yep.
And sharing personal stories that they can connect to. So hopefully they themselves can maybe make the same transition. And I know that one of the things I want to jump into with this transition is, what is the number one thing that is stopping people, and we're talking about women today, stopping women from making that leap, taking that transition? And for today, we'll talk about leaving a job, just because there's so many things we could talk about. But let's talk about leaving a job and maybe doing something different, starting their own business, whatever it might look like.
Yeah. We all know it's fear. It doesn't matter what in life we're doing, it's fear. However, with this, it's the fear of making a mistake. Am I retiring too early? Will I have enough money to retire? Oh my God, what will I do after I retire? I have no clue. So it's all of those kind of things that begin to muddle through our mind when we even begin thinking, I'm a couple of years out when maybe I do want to look at retiring. I'm not sure, and I have an idea on what I may want to do. And then it's like something clutches us here, and we go, oh, I can't, because we also don't have a firm enough belief that we can make life different.
So true.
Yeah.
So true. I love what you said at the beginning about being comfortable in the corporate world. And I love how it directly relates to, okay, this is something I've never done. And it's quite interesting, Denise, and you probably can relate to this, as women that are out there every day, really making ourselves public so we can live our purpose and help others, because we can't if we don't.
Yes.
And sometimes people look at us and say, and this is a word that's been used a lot with me, you make change look effortless.
Yeah.
And I want you to share with the ladies that are watching that think for some people change is effortless, how we actually deal with this every day in a lot of things that we do.
Yeah. So first and foremost, change is hard, period. It always will be, because we have to get out of our comfort zone, as I said before, and do something different. And before we can do that, we have to choose, commit, and take courage to do that. As you put in the tools, which is what I love to give my women and men, the baby steps on how to get there, you can shift your perspective, and it can become effortless. It can happen just like that in a matter of seconds, where you go from the clutching of fear to, I got this and I can do it. And
one of my favorite things to say is, so one of my chapters in my book, The Successful Woman's Mindset, that's what the show is based on, is called Turning Fear into Determination.
Yes.
Have you ever experienced that yourself? Because one of my favorite things is sharing in that chapter how when I get fear, I get this little thing in my stomach right down here, right?
Oh yeah, the pit.
And now, how do I turn that into determination? And for me, I have, since my kids were little, especially my youngest, mommy's determined, watch out. And I learned that first it starts with fear. Okay. And then I have to ask myself, is this fear related to something I really should be careful about? And I always use the example of walking down a dark alley. If it doesn't feel good, don't do it, which is nothing wrong with walking down them. But if it doesn't feel right, don't do it. That's red flag. So then I'm like, okay, I don't have a red flag. Right. Yeah. So why do I fear this? And what comes up for me, and I'd love to hear your take on this, is
Mhm.
my body is trying to protect me from something uncomfortable because
Yes.
they want to protect me so I don't get hurt, I don't get
Mhm.
rejected, I don't fail. What has
Mhm.
your experience been with your clients? Because I know you work with so many people in
Yes.
transition. What has your
Mhm.
experience been with them?
It's very similar. And the thing that I tell my people, and I work mostly with women, is
I love
that, you know what, your superpower, you have a superpower. And that superpower is listening to your
that.
intuition, which is
Beautiful.
exactly what that is. Our intuition resides in our heart, stomach area, and everything. And our body will tell us exactly what it is to do. And so I
Yes.
help them recognize, what is your intuition and then what's your ego? Because the ego is up there telling you all of this little critical knowledge. If you tried that before, it didn't work then, what makes you think you're going to do it again, etc.
Mm.
And yet it's about really coming down into your intuitive nature, learning how to access it, learning how it's talking to you, and hitting the pause button.
I
Because we
love
get so caught up in spinning out of control, escalating the fear that's coming up, allowing our
the what
thoughts
ifs, the
just,
what ifs,
yes,
right,
yes,
Denise? What do you
yes.
see with your clients? For me, it's always the what ifs.
Oh, it's totally the what ifs. Well,
Okay.
what if this happens? Or what if that happens? Or what if I can't do it? Or what if I can do it? It runs the gamut of everything. And so the what ifs, I said, well, you could what if yourself to death. Is that what you'd like to do? Or
Well,
let's
you
just
what
take a
if
breath.
yourself out of doing it,
Totally.
right?
Well, that's
So
the death of
you've
whatever
already
inspiration you
gone
had.
to this place where you've already failed.
Yep.
You've already
Oh,
seen the worst
totally.
case scenario instead of the best case scenario.
Mm-hmm.
And I struggle in my life to understand why this doesn't work more for me than against me, because I'm so big about my mindset. My next book is going to be about mindset too. And even though I teach people how to be successful in business, if they don't have the mindset tools to go with it, then
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't matter. You know that.
Yeah.
So I get crazy from that. Like, this is my brain. This should be my biggest cheerleader. This should be my best friend, my biggest supporter, the one on the mountain screaming, go do it. And instead it's working against us. What are some tips that you can give those listening? Let's jump in.
Yeah.
Transitions. So how do they make this leap? What are those tips we can have them walk away with that they can start this process?
Oh, excellent question. I'm glad you asked it because I have a specific tool.
Good.
Okay. Yes. It's all about the tools, and it is simple. So it doesn't start when you're trying to make a decision. It starts way before that, of you recognizing your successes and celebrating your wins all the time. In our brain, it's like that iceberg. We only understand a small portion of it, but our subconscious mind, which is below the water, captures everything. It captures and holds everything. We don't always access it because it's too overwhelming for us, except for those times when the ego brain wants to tell you, no, 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 you've done that before and it didn't work. So, nope, stop. Your desire comes up. It's like a computer. It goes in and goes, hold on, wait a minute. Let me go through it. Oh, wait, you tried it. No, didn't work. We're going to shut that down right now. Now, all you have to do is, as you capture your wins, you're celebrating your successes, journal about it, write about it. Even if you're still in the corporate world, I always told employees that I managed, I said, when someone sends you an email or someone gives you an accolade, write it down and keep it on a brag folder or something like that. Because when it comes time for review, which we do always, even in the corporate and our personal lives, we get to pull that up and begin to look at it. And so if we can capture more successes that come to mind than failures or rejections, when that computerized brain goes to something, it's going to find the success. And all you need are 51% successes in your subconscious.
I love
And
that.
we have to continue capturing them.
I love that.
And
I
honoring them.
think
Yeah.
that's so true. I will tell you that in my experience, over and over again, I also doing trainings and speaking like you, I have found that people do not remember their successes.
Thank
They
you.
don't focus on them. I had this one woman, Denise, you will love this story. I was teaching a group of people that were getting back into the employment force. They had been out of jobs for 3 to 5 years, whatever, 7 years, and it was a nonprofit for the state.
Yep.
And this woman was terrified about going on an interview, and she was probably 50, 55. She was terrified. And I said, tell me about yourself. She says, well, I got my semi truck license when I was 25. I was the only woman driving a semi truck in our business, not our company, but in the company I worked for.
Yeah.
I was addicted to drugs, and I stopped my addiction. And one day when I decided I didn't want to be a drug addict anymore, and she just kept going. And I'm like, my chin is on the ground, and there's maybe 25 people in the room, and my chin is on the ground.
Right.
Now, what I wanted to say is, and you're scared about going on an interview, but you can't do that. So what I said to her is, did you hear all the things that you've accomplished in your life, all the successes you've had?
Yeah.
Do you understand what a big deal that it will know? Let's do this again. So we went through it, and I said, you take what drove you to those successes, and you turn that around now, and you think, hey, I know what it took to succeed. I can do this interview.
Yeah.
And when we're so focused on what we're trying to accomplish today, and it terrifies us, we forget about all the things we've accomplished in our past.
We do.
I love that story because people never know what they've done.
Exactly. We are so committed to our failures because drama seems to drive people's energy. And that's what we have to really walk away and decide. Do I want to be addicted to the chaos and the lack of clarity and to the lack of abundance and everything dramatic going on in my life? Or do I really want to be at ease? And being at ease is so foreign to us that it takes practice.
It's funny because so many people will stay in their comfort zone even though they know that there's something else, that there's more for them, that they want to do something different.
Yeah.
And it's because it's safe. What are some of the tips that you could give people aside from the transition and taking that leap that they can comfort that part of themselves or work through that? So when that heartbeat starts going and the palms are shaking and the what ifs are showing up, what is it that they can do? Maybe just one step or something that they can do to at least start on their way.
Our biggest tool, and the one I always give my clients, is for them when they feel themselves again getting out of control. The heartbeat's racing. They're just, they can feel themselves getting lightheaded because they've stopped breathing. Okay, literally. Is to picture a big red button. Remember the Staples Easy button?
I'm
dating myself, but picture that and put a big pause on it and see it in your head. And I tell them, I said, when you feel that coming on, I say, hit that pause button in your head and take a deep breath. I said, because at that point, you have literally gone into shallow breathing. You've cut off the oxygen to your brain, and you can't think critically anyway. You're just having these wild thoughts. And I said, so when you hit the pause button, you take 3. You got to do 3, the power of 3, deep breaths. And then you sit back and you ask yourself, so any various question, what am I afraid of? What do I really want? Or what do I not want?
Yes.
Because when you say, what do I not want? You begin to list off a number of things, which is easy for us to do. And then we begin to look at what do we do want? What do we really want?
Yes. I love that. I love that. And for me, I've gone through so many changes in my life, and I think I will continue to, because you and I are the kind of ladies that are constantly trying to better ourselves and up level ourselves and really wrap our head around what our purpose is. But for those listening and watching, I just want to share, Denise has lived this. She's experienced this. I love interviewing women that live and breathe what they preach, right? What they share, what they teach. They didn't just wake up in the morning and decide this is what I'm going to be. I've had years and years and years of failures and challenges and obstacles and successes. And now I'm going to bring to the table with my client, hey, let me save you from a lot of this.
Yes.
So
Exactly.
I love that you really are what you teach and you've experienced that. I think that in itself is key to success for anyone that you work with, because yes, you haven't experienced everything that the client has, but many times we attract what they want to learn or what they need, and we've already experienced that.
Exactly. And you know what? Maybe we haven't experienced like drug addiction. However, I can tell you that I have a sugar addiction, and that is my drug of choice.
Yeah, they're
So it's something similar.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I totally agree. And we don't need to
Mhm.
experience everything our clients have. We just need to understand the experience so we can give them the tools that they need to work through it. So let's share with everybody how they can get a hold of you. How can they learn more about you? I would love for them to reach out if they're ready for a transition as well.
Yeah. All they have to do is to go to DeniseHansard.com. That's my website, DeniseHansard.com.
Beautiful, beautiful. And I'm sure you're on social media if they want to connect with you there.
Just Denise Hansard everything. That's all you got to look for.
I know, it makes it
YouTube
nice
channel,
and easy.
everything, Instagram,
I love that.
Twitter,
And if they want to
everything.
grab your book, give them the name again.
It is Suffering in Comfort,
Perfect.
How Owning Your Choices Will Set You Free.
I love that. I love that book. Thank you so much for being on, for sharing just a little bit about your area of expertise and some tips that our listeners and watchers can take away.
Thank you, Galit. This was wonderful.
I'm so glad to have you. And anybody watching or listening, remember, one little step, one little thing that you do differently today can have a domino effect for the rest of your life. And if you are looking for someone to lead you on that journey, reach out to Denise. She can help you through the transition. She can give you the tools that you need to help you be a little less anxious and a little less fearful, and maybe make a change in your life. So I appreciate everybody listening and watching. My name is Galit Ventura Rosen, and this is The Successful Woman's Mindset. You can watch at everydaywoman.tv.com, and you can listen on iTunes. Bye, everybody. Until next time.